Just one moment.
It's on. We've
We're
done.
away. Okay, thank you for having me. My name's Daniel Locke, and not only am I from the Synergy Club, I'm also from the Quintessence Club also. So I'm a glutton for punishment. The title of my speech tonight, Daniel and the Lion's Den, but basically what I want to do is just give you a speech about myself. And this is in fact my first speech which I delivered in Quintessence last week. I'd like to open this by saying life is a quote from Helen Keller which says life is a succession of lessons which must be lived to understood. And that's certainly true for my life, and it's one thing I've found as I have gone through my life. And so I'm going to talk about just 3 examples of my life that are sort of momentous for me and what I've learned from those. Initially, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a pilot, and I wanted to go to the Air Force and perhaps under the inspiration of Top Gun, become a fighter pilot. And what happened was, is in year 12, when I was doing Maths 1, 2, Physics, Chem and English as a glutton for punishment, I told you that was that earlier, and I had an accident playing basketball, and I broke the bone above my eye, right here. And what had to happen was, I went into hospital to have an operation where they cut me from ear to ear, pulled my head right down, and then put a titanium plate in there and screwed it all the way in. And if I get my hair cut too short to this day, you can actually see the scar all the way across. So hopefully, I don't think I'm in any risk of losing my hair, but that could happen. And what I want to talk about that is what I learned from that was change. And that change can be either something that we decide for ourselves or it can be external. And right then, I had to change my life purpose and what I wanted to do. And because going into the Air Force just wasn't something that was going to happen anymore, because they didn't let people in who had that particular accident, as it turned out. And so from there, as I went into university, I elected to do a civil aviation degree. So I thought I'll continue my flying degree, continue flying as a civil aviation pilot. That'll be great, no problems. And so I went to university and I did it for 3 years, but I only ever got my private licence because at the time it cost about $50,000 to go through and get your licence. And what I did was, I was able to get my private licence, but I had all the theory out of the way, and I did the degree, but as I finished, I didn't graduate, I guess. So I graduated, but not with all of my colleagues who are now have gone on to be pilots. And I started working at Westpac Bank. And what happened there was, is when I got into Westpac, after I left uni, I very quickly progressed. And what I found was, I was very adept to that kind of work. The leadership, the management, sales, and finance in general. And that harks back to when I was 9 years old and I used to deliver newspapers and employ my younger brother. I always had that business edge in me all of my life. And it kind of surprises me now that I was ever endeavouring really to be a pilot. In fact, I have 0 interest in becoming a pilot these days, none of it. Yet at the time, I was heavily influenced by my parents to do it. And I think what happened is, what I've learned from that, is how important it is to follow your own passions and your own purpose and what you're good at. And how really my 20s have been a search for that meaning and that purpose and that passion in my life. Very much so. So the second lesson is, for me, was purpose. Find your purpose and what you're good at. And finally, in the last 12 months, just over a year ago, I started my own business as a solo consultant. And being entrepreneurially minded, my days working for the bank were numbered, although I enjoyed it very much and I learned a great deal. I really, really wanted to get into my own business. So I started this 12 months ago. And what I have found is the degree of pressure you have on yourself when you don't have a paycheck coming in every week to perform is just incredible. And the only way to do that is to become a better person. And ultimately, the better person I become, and the more I work on myself physically and emotionally, and really have that emotional resilience and build that self-esteem, am I able to actually perform. And I found in the last 12 months that to just be absolutely critical. And so what the last third point is just becoming a better person. The better person you become, the more successful you'll be. So ultimately, as I just sum up those three key chapters of my life, is that follow your change, wherever it comes from. Strive to find out what your purpose is for yourself, specifically for you. And number three is then concentrate on the discipline of becoming a better person, and you will be successful. And that's what has been true for me. So I'll just close with a final quote, and this is from a gentleman by the name of John Dichter, who was an NFL football coach. And the quote was, "Success is seldom lasting, but failure is seldom fatal." Thank you.